people were killed in Mexico City because of a tragic event, an event which people will never forget. If you want to improve your listening skills with the text with shocking news, this video is absolutely for you. At the end of the video, there's a very practical part waiting for you. Mexico City, one of the largest cities in the world. Mexico City is the capital of Mexico. It is the largest city in Mexico and one of the largest cities in the world. It has a population of about 20 million people. In the year 2000, the population will probably be more than 32 million. History. The Spaniards built Mexico City in 1521 at its present location. Before 1521, the Aztec city Tenochtitlan was at this location, and it was a very important city because it was the capital of the Aztec Empire. Hernando Cortés, a Spanish leader, invaded the empire in 1519. He conquered the Aztecs and destroyed their great city since 1521. Mexico City has been the center of industry, commerce, and government. It is also the religious, cultural, and educational center of the country. Places of interest. The most important place or square in Mexico City is the Zocalo. This was also the governmental and religious center of the ancient Aztecs. The largest cathedral, the Metropolitan Cathedral, is located on the north side of the square. Christians built it partly of stone from the old Aztec temples that had in the same location. On the east side of the square is the National Palace. This was the site of the Palace of Montezuma, the last emperor of the Aztecs. On the west side of the Zocalo, there are many shops of various kinds. If you have enjoyed the video till now, please hit the like button. So, architecture in Mexico City. Mexico City is a fascinating city partly because it is a combination of Aztecs, colonial Spanish, and modern architecture. For example, the Plaza of Three Cultures has Aztec pyramids, a colonial church, and modern high-rise apartment buildings around it. In Mexico City, you get a strong feeling of the past and the present mixed together. Culture. Mexico City is a major cultural center not only in Mexico but in all of Latin America as well. It is the home of two symphony orchestras, the National Symphony and Mexico City Symphony, the National Opera Company, and the world-famous Symphony, the National Opera Company, and the world-famous Ballet Folklorico de Mexico. There are also many fine theaters throughout the city. Mexico City has always been noted for its artists and writers, many of whom are famous throughout the world. Development. The Mexican economy has been growing fast in recent years. International companies as well as Mexican companies have been setting up factories and industries in Mexico and making products that are sold around the world. Many of these companies have their headquarters in Mexico City, so the city has become an international business center. Development always brings opportunities and challenges together. An important challenge for the Mexican government is to figure out how to protect the environment and the rights of workers while it develops the economy. Every country faces this same challenge, but it is particularly important in Mexico now because the country is developing so fast. The 1985 earthquake. On September 19, 1985, there was a terrible tragedy in Mexico City that was reported around the world. An earthquake struck the city at 7:18 a.m. Thousands and thousands of people were on their way to work because it was rush hour. The earthquake lasted only 4 minutes, but in this short time, it completely destroyed more than 250 buildings in downtown Mexico City. It partially destroyed thousands of others. Apartment buildings, offices, and hospitals collapsed, and people died under tons of rubble. For days, screams and cries could be heard throughout Mexico City. The next day, September 20, another earthquake hit Mexico City. This second quake was not as powerful as the first one, however. It destroyed many more buildings because they were already weakened and damaged by the first quake. Worst of all, the second quake injured and killed even more people. 2 weeks after the earthquake, rescue workers were still looking for people in the rubble. At that time, more than 7,000 people had been killed. Several thousand more were still missing, and some were never found. This shocking tragedy happened in just a few minutes. Many more people would have died, and only the long, hard work of thousands of rescue workers saved them. It will take a long time for Mexicans to forget their terrible tragedy of September 19, 1985. Many of them, especially those who lost relatives and friends, will never forget. Okay, here we have the very practical part, word forms. Application, applicant, as a noun. The verb is to apply, adjective is applicable, the adverb is applicably. Tradition, it doesn't have a verb, adjective is traditional, adverb is traditionally. Connection, verb is to connect, adjective is connective, adverb is connectively. Interest as a noun, the verb is to interest, adjective interesting, adverb interestingly. Entertainment or entertainer, the verb is to entertain, adjective is entertaining, adverb is entertainingly. So now you tell me, what is the adjective form of challenge? Tell me in the comments.